In the 14th century, while much of Europe struggled through economic instability and political unrest, a king in West Africa controlled more wealth than anyone the world had ever seen. His name was Mansa Musa, and his journey across the Sahara Desert would shock continents and rewrite history. Mansa Musa ruled the Mali Empire, one of the largest and most powerful empires in African history. At its height, the empire stretched across vast regions of West Africa, including parts of modern-day Mali, Senegal, Guinea, and Niger. But its true power lay beneath the soil: gold. Mali controlled some of the richest gold reserves in the medieval world, and in an era when gold determined the strength of economies, this made Musa extraordinarily powerful. He ascended to the throne around the year 1312. According to historical accounts, his predecessor launched an ambitious expedition into the Atlantic Ocean and never returned. With the throne suddenly vacant, Musa inherited not only a kingdom, but immense responsibility. Under his leadership, Mali flourished. Trade routes expanded, cities grew, wealth multiplied. Yet Musa's ambition extended beyond riches. He wanted recognition. He wanted legitimacy. He wanted the wider world to know that Mali was not a distant land of myth, but a powerful civilization. In 1324, he made a decision that would change everything. He would undertake the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. But this was no ordinary journey. This was a royal procession unlike anything the medieval world had ever witnessed. Historical records describe a caravan of approximately 60,000 people, thousands of soldiers, hundreds of attendants, and camels, each carrying hundreds of pounds of gold. Imagine the sight: an endless procession moving across the Sahara Desert, golden sunlight reflecting off royal garments. The sheer scale was overwhelming. The desert itself seemed to bow before the spectacle. When Mansa Musa passed through Cairo, Egypt, his presence caused astonishment. But it was not just his arrival that left an impact. It was his generosity. He distributed gold freely, to the poor, to scholars, to officials, to merchants. Gold flowed into the markets in unprecedented quantities, and the consequences were dramatic. The sudden influx of gold reportedly caused inflation. The value of gold in Cairo dropped for years. An emperor, through generosity alone, had altered an entire regional economy. News of Mansa Musa spread far beyond North Africa. European cartographers began illustrating him on world maps, depicting a powerful African king seated on a golden throne, holding a large nugget of gold in his hand. For many in Europe, this was their first awareness of a wealthy and sophisticated West African empire. Mali was no longer invisible. It had entered global consciousness. But Musa's legacy did not end with wealth. Upon returning to Mali, he invested heavily in education, architecture, and religion. He commissioned mosques, he built schools, he invited scholars and architects from across the Islamic world. The city of Timbuktu began to flourish. It transformed into a center of learning and intellectual exchange. Students traveled from distant regions to study there. Manuscripts were collected. Knowledge was preserved. Under Musa's rule, gold funded something far greater than luxury. It funded civilization. Mansa Musa understood something rare among rulers. Wealth alone does not secure legacy. Institutions do. Education does. Culture does. And through these foundations, Mali became more than a gold empire. It became a beacon of scholarship and influence. After his death in 1337, the empire gradually began to weaken. Trade routes shifted. Political control fragmented. Successors struggled to maintain the same level of authority. But the legend of Mansa Musa endured. To this day, historians debate the exact scale of his wealth. Some believe he may have been the richest individual in recorded history. Yet perhaps his true wealth was not measured in gold. It was measured in vision. A ruler from West Africa who reshaped global perception. A king who demonstrated that power could build institutions, not just monuments. And long after the gold faded, his story continues to echo through history.